Hello and welcome to the Classical Tulsa podcast, where we have extended conversations with some of the music makers right here in Tulsa. I'm your host, Jason Heilman. Today we're talking to composer and pianist Paul Sweet. Paul is, in addition to being a composer here in Tulsa, deeply involved with several groups, including Tulsa Camerata and Living Arts of Tulsa. And it's with that latter group that he is curating and performing on a special concert of the music of Morton Feldman this Friday evening at 7:30 at TCC's Southeast Campus. He stopped by our studios to talk about that performance. Paul Sweet, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
Tell us a little bit about yourself first. You're a composer here in town, is that correct?
Yes, a casual composer. I write all manner of things. Some of it is sort of art music, and some of it tends to be more for students. I work with Piano Pronto Publishing out in Temecula, California, for those sorts of works. And then I take commissions from private parties for other works.
Are you originally from Oklahoma?
No, I'm from Joplin, Missouri, but I've spent more than half of my life here in Oklahoma, between school in Oklahoma City and living here for the last 12 years. So I kind of consider it home.
Oh, so what brought you to Tulsa?
Oh, that's a silly story. A job brought me here, but it had nothing to do with music. I worked at the mall and became a manager at the Woodland Hills Mall. So
That's fun.
nothing musical.
That's nice. So where can we hear you perform here in Tulsa?
I play with the Tulsa Symphony from time to time. As far as solo, I don't perform a whole lot of solo. I like to do interactive chambers sort of things. So next season, I have a concert with the Tulsa Camerata. Next month, I have a performance with some of the members of the Tulsa Symphony out at Philbrook. We're going to do a piece by John Harbison called Songs America Loves to Sing. In Joplin, Missouri, I have a performance of some new music by Carter Pan, a piece called Giantess coming up as well. So several things to be excited about.
Oh, nice. Well, now you are heavily involved with this Morton Feldman tribute concert that's coming up on Friday night, actually.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? How did that concert come about?
Well, I sit on the New Music Committee for Living Arts of Tulsa, and we were looking for some meaningful projects to mount here in Tulsa. And one that had come across my radar was the possibility of performing the three trios by Morton Feldman for piano, percussion, and flute. And in total, that takes about 7 hours to do. And we decided that for our inaugural effort, we would not mount all 7 hours of the pieces. So we chose one of the trios and then several representative solo works that we could sort of frame that with. And we're going to present that on Friday, like you said, and we're very excited about it.
Oh, so what's going to be on the program?
We're playing a piece, the trio for all three instruments is Y Patterns by Feldman, and I'm playing Feldman's final piano piece, which is called Palais de Marie. It was written for Benita Marcus. She wanted a piece that was not extremely long, as is often the case with Morton Feldman's later works, something that she could include on a single recital program. So I played that. That's a piece from 1986. We're also going to hear a piece by a student of Morton Feldman's. Bernadette Speech is her name, and Ricardo's going to play that. It's called Only Solamentes. And our flute player is going to play a piece by Toru Takemitsu.
Oh, great. Yeah, a tribute to Feldman. He has a couple in his repertoire,
Yes.
as I understand, yeah. Well, that sounds like a fascinating program and a lot of diversity in Feldman's styles. I mean, his early music was aleatory,
Yes.
and then his later works. Well, you're playing one of his last works. How does the work you're playing compare to some of the earlier stuff, or even the other music on the program?
You know, it calls for a different way of listening. To me, Morton Feldman forces the listener to experience music not necessarily in a linear way. You're not listening for something to come back later on. You're not listening for a narrative or a story. You're just simply existing in the sound that he creates at the time. So, and because the works are so long, it feels like there's perhaps no beginning or end, but you're simply existing within the music. So that's something that I was really happy to be able to explore with actually both Y Patterns, the trio, and the solo piano piece.
So why Feldman? That's a good question. What's the relevance of Feldman to today's world? He died in the 80s, I believe.
He did. Well, we don't hear a lot of Feldman here, and certainly he is one of the composers that brought a unique voice, a unique perspective on music in the late 20th century. And We just wanted to explore that. Like I mentioned earlier, that point of it's just a totally different listening experience. So we wanted to bring that to Tulsa.
And you've succeeded together with Living Arts and TCC music departments. Where does the concert take place on Friday?
It takes place at TCC's Southeast Campus in the Van Treese Pace building. It's in classroom 6168.
And tickets, are there tickets?
It's free admission. You just come in and we will be happy to have you there.
Oh, great. So that's 7:30 on Friday evening. So what's next on the horizon for you, Paul?
Next is the performance with members of the Tulsa Symphony out at Philbrook. We're going to, like I say, play the Harbison, Songs America Loves to Sing. It's a quintet, which sort of reworks some of America's favorite songs into chamber versions, which are quite interesting.
Oh, nice. Well, Paul Sweet, thank you for talking to us here today on the Classical Tulsa podcast.
Thank you, Jason.
That was composer and pianist Paul Sweet, who is curating and performing on a concert devoted to the music of Morton Feldman this Friday evening at 7:30 at TCC's Southeast Campus. For more information on that concert, visit livingarts.org. That's our Classical Tulsa podcast for this week. I'm Jason Heilman. Thanks for listening.